Hey guys, spring has sprung down here in New Zealand and I have been doing a ton of pest control this year. I haven't done a lot of filming, but that is about to change. I am just heading out to some neighbouring farms. They were within 5-10 minutes of my property. Um, I've basically been doing a lot of work for one particular guy down the road. Uh, he's had a lot of pigeons, starlings and miners in his feed pad, his stock feed pad. Um, they do a lot of damage. They not only eat a lot of grain, but they also spread salmonella and other diseases amongst the animals. This particular farmer's actually had a big problem with pigeons in the last couple of years, and I've been a little reluctant to shoot at them too much. And as I've told him, it would be better to find out where they're roosting and get them all at night time in one go. Shooting the odd bird here and there is not overly successful. You generally educate them, and they get very smart and crafty. They'll still come in and feed and take a lot of the grain, but they see you and they're gone, or you'll fire one shot, you might get one bird and you won't see them for the rest of the day. So I've convinced this farmer it's a better idea we get them at night time. He's put the word out around the neighbourhood looking for where these birds are roosting, and about 3 or 4 farms down the road he has found one of his neighbours actually has a huge problem with them as well, and they are nesting in about 7 of his farm sheds. So he forwarded my phone number. I've touched base with him, and I'm off to see him and his farm workers now to work out best time to go and sort this problem out for him. But also just get a look at the sheds in the daylight, do some range checks, etc., and make sure there's no water pipes or windows or anything that can be damaged at night time when I'm there doing the job. Now, of course, out of respect and privacy, I won't be filming our interview or any of these sheds in daylight. So I will leave you with a bit of footage from the feed pad, and I will see you again when the sun goes down. Here's a look into some of the other sheds I've been removing pigeons from recently, and some of the damage they're doing. Their crap is actually quite acidic and full of ammonia. It eats paintwork like you wouldn't believe. It corrodes aluminium and steel. It's not only nasty, but it spreads a lot of disease as well, and farmers are pretty happy to get them out of their sheds. Now, I have been doing a little bit of shooting already around some other areas and picked up quite a few birds with the Leshiy. I've been trialing different night vision. I've trialed different lights and light filters. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the night vision scopes. I was lucky enough to be sent one from the Yukon night vision optics, and did a bit of testing on that one. I found it ruined my natural night vision. By looking through the scope, I always had one bright illuminated light in one eye, and it took a day or so before it really felt like it came right. Almost felt partially blind in one eye, even though it wasn't. It's actually an effect that's known as bleaching or bleaching the rhodopsin in your eye, and that's how you lose your natural night vision. It's like someone shining a spotlight in your eyes at night time, and it takes quite a while for that night vision to naturally come back. And for the same reason, the military use like a red or a green filter over their light, is to preserve the natural night vision. Now, birds and pigeons in particular actually have really good eyesight. They can see infrared light and a lot higher light spectrum than what the human eye can. So by using night vision, you're not necessarily at a advantage. I did some testing with shooting with just bright LEDs, just white LED, also different filters, green and red, and to be honest, I found the standard white light is actually more effective than what night vision is on pigeons, and well, certainly amongst the barns when they're roosting. They're a lot less flighty. The white light actually does the same as what it does to the human eye, and bleaches the bird's rhodopsin, which actually stops them flying out into the dark or attempting to escape. Here's an example of just using the white LED at night time. Okay guys, while I get ready to head out for this night shoot, I'll show you my setup. I'll go through a bit of the gear that I use. I seem to get the same questions every video, no matter how many times I put it in the comments, so I'll just go over everything in this one. Tonight will be the Edgun Leshiy. It's actually the purpose I bought this little gun for. It was for the indoor work, set up at low power. It's set up with my 310mm BSA 25 cal barrel. It's fitted with the TAC Vector Optics 2-12x32. It's a forward focal plane scope. It's a little overkill for indoor work. I have used in the past my 1-6 power TAC Vector Optics, which works well, but it doesn't like my scope cam as much as what this one does. So tonight I'll be using this one, but I'll dial it down to 4 or 6 power. The other one is quite happily at home on my cricket at the moment, but for whatever reason my scope cam just doesn't like the optics on this, and it doesn't focus on the reticle as well as it does on the 12 power. So I'm doing it for you guys, nice clear shots. So yeah, 25 cal, it's running the Kings. I have tuned this one down, the rig, it's a Huma rig set at 80 bar, and it is set up to run the Kings at 580 feet per second, which is about 19 foot-pound from memory. That is the absolute max I can shoot indoors in these iron sheds, otherwise I'll start punching holes, and the old farmers don't like that too much, leaks in their sheds, etc. It also stops a lot of ricochets and, you know, the issue of pellets coming back to you or doing damage on machinery that's stored in the shed. So it's set up quite low powered, but enough to get the job done. So testing on this sheet of iron, 580 feet per second with the JSB Kings, about 5 yards away. So right here is the damage at 580 feet per second. That's only 5 yards away, so I mean that's worst case scenario. That's a really close shot, and hopefully by then it would have passed through a pigeon as well, so that slowed it down. But that's about the damage you'll get. It's just a ding, and most of the farmers are quite happy with that. They're not too worried. Right here, that's about 630 feet per second, and you can see it just split the iron. It's not really acceptable. I wouldn't want to have it as high as that. And over here was about 650 feet per second, and you see it actually passed right through at that.
So at 580 feet per second, there's a little bit of give and take, and that does the job nicely. I find the 25 cal is the most effective on pigeons. I have trialled 22 and 177, but the 25 just seems to, obviously the more surface area, even though it's going slower, it knocks them down a lot better. So that's the basic unit. Won't be running the bipod tonight, but that's that. So I'll need a air source. With the setting I'm getting it at the moment about 80 shots, 75 to 80 shots from a 300 bar fill. So if I fill up before we go out tonight, it'll probably get me all night long. If I get 80 pigeons, I'm pretty happy. But I always bring the 500cc buddy bottle. It's also filled to 300 bar, so there's enough air in there for another 2 or 3 fills, more than enough air. Obviously always check my gears ready to roll before we go. Things like fill probes are fitted, the O-rings on the fill probes are in good condition. Nothing worse than a O-ring out when you're out on a job. And obviously make sure the air tanks are all filled. That'll come along. Enough pellets to do the job. I always bring a couple of tins. That's the JSP Kings, both the same. That one's just an Edgun labelled tin. A small pack to put it all in. I don't like to take big backpack. This is just a little one, fits the 500cc buddy bottle, a few extra pellets, torch, etc. The torch I run is just a little ultrafire LED torch, nice and bright. You've got good battery life, but I always bring a second. The gun light I'll be using tonight is a little ultrafire also. It's the X400V. Nice compact little light. You can see that clearly. On the front of the torch we have a very bright white light setting, and it is super bright. I think it's about 500 lumens. Off in the middle, and then we've got an infrared setting just by turning the front switch, so the infrared light for the night vision to pick up. On the back, just a rocker on off both ways. But that fits really nicely on the front of the Leshiy. Screw that one on. So it's a nice tidy little compact unit and works really well. Easy to access the on-off switch at the front there with your trigger finger from the other side. And that's my lighting. One other thing I'll touch on is my camera gear. People always ask me what camera gear I use. I use all different stuff. To be honest, I don't really specialise in camera gear. I'm not really into the whole filming of it. I like to get the job done, and anyone knows who works on cameras and air guns, it's not easy. Your kill rates go down. That's why I generally don't use it too often, and you don't see a lot of videos of me out killing pest birds. I'm out there to get a job done. I like to get a good result for the farmer. Tonight I've got a bit of a free rein on about 7 sheds, so I should be able to get some good footage for you before I get down to business and remove all the camera gear. But I've ordered this new scope camera mount. This actually works with any cell phone, and I found my cell phone really works quite well on the TAC Vector 2 to 12. It likes to focus right in on that reticle and your target quite nicely. So I'll be using that one tonight. I have in the past used the C-bend mount, It's not as good on the Leshiy. It tends to knock on the ear tube every time you cock it, which knocks the camera out of alignment. You spend more time messing around with the camera trying to line it up with the reticle than you do actually shooting. So that was a good little purchase. I think it was about $20 American, and it does the job. Also use a smaller Canon IXS 120 high-speed camera for other scope cam work, obviously daylight stuff as well. I've got a couple of different cameras, one with the infrared filter removed, so it can pick up on the infrared light from the new light I'm using on the front of the Leshiy. Obviously it aids with the night vision. Really all basic stuff. A lot of it's outdated, it's old cameras, but it does the job and gets a decent picture. The last thing I'll be throwing in the pack will be a couple of black garbage bags to dispose of the pigeons afterwards. So I like to pick it all up for the farmers so they don't have to deal with the mess in the morning.
So here I am at the first shed, and what I'm doing here is I've just put the bright white LED light on, and I'm temporarily blinding these birds, so to speak, or ruining their night vision. It'll make them a lot less flighty once I go to green light or night vision. Don't spend too much time with the white light on them, and you will notice all of these shots are actually taken freehand. There's nothing to rest on. I'm just walking around these sheds, so you'll have to excuse the shaky cam. And like you see in this next three shots, I'm pointing at the ground and loading, and then bring it straight back up. That's about the speed I'm taking each bird. I'll cut that out of all the next shots, so you'll just see shot after shot without the reloading in between. I don't want you guys getting motion sickness, so enjoy.